concrete is in, and now we are onto the floor system framing. Here I am selecting the boards that are going to be my rim boards, or rim joists if you will, and you'll see here on the right hand side of the screen that is the highest point for where the cabin actually sits on the lot, and the lowest point in which the floor system framing is going to meet the actual concrete. So that'll become my control point for my elevation. Here I'm using an ancient RoboVector. This was a gift a number of years ago from Malcolm. It's one of those cherished tools I have, and someday I'll talk about the sadness of losing the skill saw that he gifted me as well. We'll talk about that some other day. Anyway, here I am splicing together rim joists only because I was able to get these boards at 20 feet and then I ran out of length. So what we do in that situation is splice, and what you'll see me do here is splice these two boards together. You can see the seam there, and then I will lap these boards basically 4 feet in either direction from that seam. Here you can see what the lapped, doubled up rim joists look like with some LST strap for reinforcement. So now that my rim system is in, you'll see I'll measure for the distance of my girder. That is the 6x12 beam that's laying on the ground there in front of me, and that will run the length of the cabin floor system. Here you'll see I am drilling and then setting a wedge anchor which will hold this Simpson post base down, and a little piece of 6x6 post that's going to slip under there to support that center point under the girder and basically be the spinal column for the floor system. So after fastening the post to the girder and the post base to the concrete, I then pull my layout for my joist. John stopped by to say hi. It's good to have good neighbors. So after my layout is established, I then come through with a block, as you can see here, and set my joist hangers. I'm really only setting one side of these joist hangers to start, and then you'll see I make this jig, and it makes it easy to hold on to while you're hand nailing all these joist hangers off. Now here you'll see I'm measuring and about to cut my joists. Some of you may wonder right away, well, why don't you use a 12-inch speed square? And I don't really have a good answer for that. Maybe just sheer laziness. I'm so used to using this 7-inch speed square that I typically just do anything that's 12 inches or smaller with the 7-inch speed square. And some of you might say or think again, well, why don't you just gang cut all of these joists? And if I'm being honest, it's because I have a slight taper on the south side of the girder at the back corner. So I had to custom cut a couple of these boards just by about a ½ inch, and I think I had some movement in that back post from the time it was set to the time it cured. And again, it was pretty hot, and I think that helped to twist and bend that post a bit while it was curing up in the concrete. See behind me now, we've got insulation ready to go in. I'll post some pictures here about our work yesterday. I was crawling in and out underneath the floor system, nailing ½ inch marine grade plywood up to the bottom so that I could sandwich my vapor barrier in. So just a simple 10 mil plastic in there, but it kind of helps to keep the critters and the insects out. And now I'm getting ready to stuff some insulation. So, one of my least favorite parts about construction is dealing with fiberglass insulation. It's itchy, and no matter how ginger you are with it, you always get some in your hair, inhale a little bit, get it on your arms, and for the most part it's pretty harmless, but it is annoying, and on a hot day where you're sweating, it really wants to stick to you. Now, there's other products I could have used for insulating the floor, like rock wool or something like this, but I have somewhat of a limited budget, and I want to get the most out of my dollar, and this was considered beyond code for what we're doing. And even though the cabin is technically off the grid, I still am going to have it inspected and engineered, as you can see, for resale value. Once the insulation is laid in, I begin the process of cutting and installing the decking. This is 2x6 TNG, and while there are a miscellaneous amount of Doug fir boards in here, I think it's mostly pine. I really like using the pipe clamp setup here because I can really squeeze these boards together and get a nice tight fit. And as I move across the deck, I just extend out the pipes, and it's just a great system. Very efficient. But anyway, it's a number 3 material, and at the time I was able to get this stuff for about 52 cents a lineal foot. It's structural, it sands out beautifully, and I don't mind the checks and the knots for what we're doing. It's going to fit the motif perfectly.